Major Taylor, born November 27, 1878, Indianapolis, Indiana, U.S. died June 21, 1932, Chicago, Illinois, was the 1899 world champion in cycling, a winner of many national and international honors, and the first American-born black athlete of wide renown to reach his sport's international pinnacle. Taylor overcame racism, including Jim Crow restrictions, bans by racing organizations, and even death threats. In doing so, he paved the way for other black athletes, including boxer Jack Johnson, Olympian Jesse Owens, and baseball barrier breaker Jackie Robinson. His 1928 autobiography, The Fastest Bicycle Rider in the World, chronicles his life. In 2023, a resolution was introduced in the U.S. Congress to give him a rarely awarded Congressional Gold Medal. The monster prejudice. Marshall Taylor's father, Gilbert, served in the Union Army during the American Civil War and was in Richmond, Virginia, when the Confederates, who wanted to preserve slavery, surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia. After the war, Gilbert Taylor, with his wife, Saffronia, moved to Indiana with hopes of better economic opportunity and social freedoms. Marshall Taylor was born in Indianapolis, where the family settled. Taylor became friends with a white boy, Daniel Southard, whose family was wealthy. He stayed with the Southards for long stretches of time. He and Daniel rode bicycles together. "When I was there," Taylor later wrote of Daniel's playroom, "I was the happiest boy in the world." Eventually, Taylor got a job at a nearby bicycle shop. Because he wore a military-style jacket while performing stunts, apparel that may have been a remnant of his father's army service, Taylor acquired the nickname Major, which stuck with him for life. Under Birdie's wing. Munger watched with astonishment as Taylor, with little formal training, beat the city's best cyclists. He trained Taylor, provided him with a state-of-the-art bicycle, and introduced him to some of the world's top racers. Taylor learned the most modern racing techniques as well as how to use nutrition and weight training to increase his fitness. However, Munger's business associates were angered by his association with the 16-year-old Taylor on account of his skin color. Munger told them that Taylor was as game a youngster as I have ever seen and can beat any boy in the city right now, Taylor later wrote. Munger decided to leave Indianapolis for Worcester, Massachusetts, and he asked Taylor to go with him. With his parents' assent, Taylor agreed. As the duo departed for their new life, Munger vowed that one day Taylor would return as the champion rider of America. Upon arriving by train in Worcester, Taylor soon sought out the local YMCA. Here, unlike in Indianapolis, he was welcomed, and he soon began training in earnest. While Taylor did not have the bulk and height of many of the best racers, he shaped his frame of 5 feet 7 inches, 1.7 meters, into extraordinary musculature, avoided tobacco and alcohol, and, keeping a promise to his mother, refused to race on Sundays, for religious reasons. Major Taylor on racism. It was there that I was first introduced to that dreadful monster prejudice, which became my bitterest foe from that very same day, Major Taylor said of being denied access to a YMCA. He is shown here in 1907. For black people such as Taylor, the bicycle helped broaden the world beyond racist boundaries. Taylor and Munger began to see a greater goal than a cycling race, to disprove racist theories about black people. If Taylor could compete with and defeat the best white riders, he could advance the cause of black equality. It became important to prepare Taylor not just to be another racer but to be the greatest one. Munger's confidence in Taylor only grew, and one day he proposed that his protégé switch from amateur races to his first professional contest. Taylor, now 18 years old, was to enter a 6-day race to be held in New York City's Madison Square Garden. It was December 1896, 6 months after the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled 7-1 in the case of Plessy v. Ferguson, which in effect institutionalized racist Jim Crow laws by saying that it was legal to require black people to use a separate train car from that of white people. Threats. As organizers sought to keep him off the track, and threats against his life continued to be made, Taylor reluctantly agreed to let Munger apply a skin-lightening lotion on him that was supposed to make him appear to be a white man. Birdie Munger tried in various ways to make me white, Taylor said to a reporter, innumerable times by scaring me nearly to death, and on one occasion by the bleaching process. I thought I was going to die. Taylor stopped the operation. 3 days after the Madison Square Garden race, on a track in Taunton, Massachusetts, 25,000 turned out to watch a race in which Taylor finished second. After the race, a white rider who alleged that Taylor had cut him off suddenly lunged at Taylor and choked him into what one newspaper said was insensibility. For 15 minutes Taylor lay unconscious, and some believed he had died. Munger, who was at the track, managed to revive him. When Taylor went to Savannah, Georgia, to train during the winter, he easily outdistanced some white riders whom he had encountered on the road. They wrote to him demanding that he leave within 48 hours if you value your life. Taylor reluctantly departed but became only more determined. The combination of events, the application of skin-lightening lotion, the choking, and the death threat, added up to an epiphany. Taylor is champion. Taylor raced with new determination, defeated his old nemesis Eddie Bald, and became national mile champion. He sharpened his skills by riding in the slipstream of motorized vehicles, known at the time as motorcycles, and set new records. His accomplishment earned him an invitation to compete at the Cycling World Championship, to be held in 1899 in Montreal. A number of white riders from the United States refused to compete with a black entrant, but many of the best racers from around the world attended. Taylor had become one of the most famous and feared riders, and he sealed his reputation by winning the championship. Here, instead of playing Dixie, as musicians would do when he won a contest at some US races, the band struck up the Star-Spangled Banner, which then was informally known as the American National Anthem. Taylor was deeply moved but also saddened that it took a contest outside his homeland for him to receive such an honor. Taylor has been the subject of books, including The World's Fastest Man by the author of this article. There is also a movement to award him the Congressional Gold Medal. I never felt so proud to be an American before, and indeed, I even felt more American at that moment than I ever felt in America, Taylor said. Taylor's legacy. Taylor once summarized his life by saying, "In a word, I was a pioneer, and therefore had to blaze my own trail." Many great black athletes followed that trail, and many would become better known. Taylor seemed lost to history, but gradually his descendants and historians and others helped revive his legacy. Cycling clubs named for Major Taylor sprang up across the United States and around the world. A trail named for him was built in Chicago, books were written about him, and word of his legendary feats reached more people.